Welcome back to Trauma Toolkit. I hope you found the last video useful for understanding some of the reactions or responses that you may be experiencing. I know the last video contained a lot of information, so a big well done for sticking with it and making it this far. I promise this video and the next two videos are going to be much simpler and require a lot less focus and attention. This is where the fun stuff comes in. This is where we get to do the skills and you get to practice them, see which ones work the best for you. So a gentle reminder to be somewhere peaceful if possible and away from distractions. If you can, switch your phones off or at least put them on silent so that you can really engage with the content of the workshops and get the most from them. So without any further ado, let's begin workshop 2.
Let's have a little check-in on our Trauma Toolkit schedule. So we covered the psychoeducation part of Trauma Toolkit in last week's workshop. So today we'll be learning the first 2 of our 6 wellness skills: tracking and resourcing and resource intensification. A quick reminder for you that all the skills you'll be learning are a biological intervention that has the following goals: to help you learn to stabilize your nervous system so that you can be in your resilient zone more often for longer periods of time, and to help you feel more whole in mind, body, and spirit. Hopefully you recognize this image from our last workshop, the resiliency zone scale. I encourage you to use this scale throughout the day to track whether you are in your resilient zone or are stuck on high or stuck on low. As you may recall, one of the major goals of these workshops is to expand or deepen that green resilience zone so that you can experience being there more often. And as you increase your resilience zone, you also increase your ability to handle life stresses and the triggers that may occur because of past traumas. Once you start regularly tracking your nervous system, you learn to start paying attention to when you are in your resilient zone and when you are bumped out. If you remember from last week, I said that it's useful to record your scale numbers before and after using the skills that you're going to learn in these workshops. So let's do that together now. Close your eyes and have a little check-in with yourself. Become aware of how you are feeling in this present moment. And using that scale of 1 to 10, notice, say out loud, or write down the number that best describes where you are on the scale, whether you're in your resilience zone or perhaps on high or low. Whatever your number is, remember that or write it down so that you have a way of checking whether it remains the same or changes after using the skills in this workshop. Let's begin with our first skill of the day, tracking. Tracking is an awareness of your body's internal felt sense. This simply means noticing sensations inside your body, so how you feel on the inside. Tracking is used with all the skills in Trauma Toolkit. One of the goals of tracking is to learn how to tell the difference between sensations that are pleasant or neutral and ones that are unpleasant. Sensations tell us what is happening within the nervous system. When you practice this, it is easier to bounce back into your resilient zone. The more you pay attention to pleasant or neutral sensations, the more you strengthen your resilient zone. Use tracking regularly to get to know your internal climate. Let's try this together now. Bring your attention to sensations within your body that are pleasant or neutral. Pleasant sensations can include slower heart rate, slower, deeper breathing, and relaxed muscles. So as you sit watching this video, just do a little scan of your body and notice areas where you feel pleasant or neutral. Neutral might mean sensations that feel neither good or bad. They're just there. You might not feel anything in particular, perhaps a sensation of feeling calm or safe, or it may just be the absence of any unpleasant sensations. Tracking sensations, even ones that are comfortable, can be difficult at first, so don't feel frustrated if you can't do this straight away. As you get more experienced in tracking, noticing internal sensations that are pleasant or neutral will get easier. Following traumatic or stressful events, your body can be so overwhelmed with the unpleasant sensations as your nervous system switches between the highs and the lows that it can take practice to help it to recognize the pleasant sensations again. If you need to practice this skill for a few more minutes, press pause on this video now and return to it again when you are ready. As you're learning the skill of tracking, this chart can help you to describe what you are noticing inside. When you're first learning to track sensations that you're experiencing, sometimes it can be difficult trying to describe how you're feeling. I use this skill a lot with clients, and sometimes they might begin by simply saying that their legs feel weird, for example. But by encouraging them to identify the feeling in more detail, such as what it looks, smells, sounds, tastes, and feels like, they can better describe the qualities of the sensation and get a more accurate sense of how they feel. They can then go on to identify that their legs feel tingly, a buzzing sensation that feels slightly warm. Being able to accurately describe the sensations you're experiencing is really important for helping you to identify both pleasant and unpleasant sensations. Learning to bring awareness to sensations is a key part of learning the skills in Trauma Toolkit, so you might find this chart useful for helping you to name ones that you experience. Take a screenshot of this if you'd like, so that you have it as a resource for if and when you need it. It takes time for sensations to develop and to be aware of what is happening inside the body, especially when you're first learning to track. It's important to remember that sensations are not right or wrong. You are simply learning the importance of paying attention. Tuning into your internal climate requires time and experience, so be patient with yourself. Keep practicing this throughout the week, as the more you do it, the easier it will become. Here's a selection of sensation words that you might find useful for helping to describe the sensations that you might be experiencing. Take a screenshot now so that you have these words as a resource to help you when you're practicing tracking. As you track your nervous system, you will notice your resilience zone more often. As your body comes into balance by using the skills, you may notice what is called nervous system release. Nervous system release is a biological process that happens automatically when your body releases and comes back into balance. This could cause sensations that can be unsettling until you understand their purpose. If you notice any of the sensations of release, just let them happen. Release sensations are a way that your nervous system rebalances itself, even though the sensations may feel unpleasant or unfamiliar. Let's look in a bit more detail at sensations, those that are associated with trauma and stress, with nervous system release, and with resiliency. These are some of the sensations associated with trauma or stress, and these are what someone might experience when they're bumped out of their resilience zone and their nervous system goes into high or low. Next, we have the sensations associated with nervous system release, and these are the sensations that the person might get following a traumatic or stressful event when their nervous system is trying to come back into balance. So when they're coming down from being on high or coming back up from being on low. And finally, we have sensations associated with resiliency. So when a person has safely returned to their resilience zone following that traumatic or stressful event, those pleasant or neutral sensations of calm and comfort that I mentioned earlier. Looking at these lists, can you identify times when you have experienced any of these sensations? And more specifically, times when you may have unknowingly experienced sensations associated with nervous system release. If you experience any of these sensations whilst doing these workshops, please don't be alarmed. This is a natural process and is simply your nervous system coming back into balance. People who regularly do yoga or Tai Chi, for example, it's very common for them to experience sensations of release during or after classes as their nervous systems calm. Here is a more exhaustive list of sensations associated with release. If you find that any release sensations you may experience are too strong, you can consciously stop them. You can bring down the intensity by noticing the urge to release without allowing the energy to release all at once. Imagine this as though you were lifting the lid on a can of fizzy cola that's been all shook up. You sometimes need to wait and allow it to settle, or else do it very slowly to stop the cola from fizzing out all at once. Here's the list of release sensations again for you to take a screenshot of if you think this would be helpful to have to hand. And this is the end of our first skill, tracking. Tracking is a really simple skill, but it can be difficult to master, so keep at it. I don't want to overcomplicate this skill for you. It's simply just bringing awareness to how you feel and learning to describe that. Once you get the hang of it, tracking will be really important as we continue the workshops, as it's a foundation for the rest of the skills in Trauma Toolkit. So well done for keeping up so far. And as we have just completed a skill, a gentle reminder to you to check in with yourself using the Resiliency Zone scale to see how you are doing in this present moment. If you wanted to take a short break, now would be a good time before we begin the next skill, in which case, press pause and head back when you're ready. If you're fine to keep going, let's continue with skill 2. Welcome back if you've returned after taking a break. As we're about to start another skill, a reminder to have a little check-in with yourself using the Resiliency Zone scale. You can write this down or just make a mental note of your number prior to practicing this next skill. Obviously, if you've continued to this part without taking a break, then you've just done this, so there's no need for you to do this again. Resourcing means using positive things in your life to bring balance back to the nervous system. And there are two types of resources: external resources and internal resources. External resources include positive experiences and may involve people, places, spiritual guides, activities, skills, hobbies, and animals. Internal resources include positive experiences, values, and beliefs that support and give meaning to life, as well as personal qualities that you like about yourself, such as kindness, compassion, and humour. Tracking resource sensations is a way you can help your nervous system come back into balance. The first step is being able to name your resources, and the second step is tracking the sensations that happen inside you when you think about a resource. Resourcing helps you deepen your resilience zone. Let's now practice this skill together. As previously mentioned, external resources include positive experiences, people, places, activities, skills, hobbies, spiritual guides, and animals. Take a moment to think of or write down your external resources. Don't think too hard about this, just the first things that spring to mind. Maybe you have a favourite holiday that you remember, a grandparent, a favourite view, or a pet that you have now or from your childhood. And now, let's turn our attention to your internal resources. As I mentioned a moment ago, internal resources include experiences, values, and beliefs that support and give meaning to life, and personal qualities that you like about yourself, such as your strength, your kindness, your compassion, or your sense of humour. Take a moment to think of or write down your internal resources. Again, you don't need to think too hard about this. Go with whatever first comes to mind. Perhaps you have a memory of a positive experience or an occasion where your values or beliefs were present. Or maybe you're drawn to your personal qualities, your strength, the kindness that you show to others, or your ability to make those around you laugh, or even yourself laugh. Now that you have identified some resources that you have, external and internal, we're now going to look at the next part of this skill, resource intensification. Now, resource intensification means giving more detail to your identified resource. And giving more detail helps strengthen the image of the resource. So this aspect of the skill, we're strengthening, intensifying, and amplifying your resource. Before we begin, it's important to mention that sometimes sensations connected to resources can flip into sensations that are not pleasant. For example, you may have picked your grandmother as your resource, but she sadly may have died. Now, she is still a resource memory for you, but you miss her, and that could be upsetting for you. If this happens, it doesn't mean you can't pick your grandmother for a resource. Bringing your attention to more pleasant memories connected to your grandmother will usually override the uncomfortable sensations. However, if that doesn't help and the upsetting emotions are too strong, then you may want to choose a new resource. So let's try to do this skill together now. The image on this slide is not going to change for the next couple of minutes, so if you close your eyes to do this, you're not going to miss out on anything. Closing your eyes for this next bit really allows yourself to immerse into your resource image and benefit from all the positive sensations that it holds for you. I don't know if you could maybe put your phone or tablet down beside you so that you can sit comfortably to do this and allow your body to come to a nice relaxed position, sitting loosely and calmly. Now, take a moment and select one of your external resources that you've previously identified. And if you've chosen a place in nature, imagine this place now in your mind. If you've chosen a person or a pet or an activity, that's okay too. You can still adapt this exercise to work for you. And as I ask you questions, you don't have to answer them out loud. Just use your mind to think about the answers. So as you look around your resource image, where are you, or who are you with? What can you see? Really engage all of your senses. The colours, the smells, and the sounds of wherever you are. Imagine them in all their vibrancy. Looking to your left, to your right, all the things that you can see, and the floor beneath you too. Is it sand, pebbles, grass, a cosy carpet? Are you stood or sat down? And looking up as well, perhaps the sun is shining and there are lovely blue skies. If you're outside, maybe you can feel the warmth of the sun or a gentle, refreshing breeze. Or perhaps you can feel the gentle touch of a loved one or the soft, fluffy fur of an animal. And think of all the things that you like or love about this resource. And as you give this image more detail, gently bring your attention to notice what is happening inside of you. Notice and follow the sensations that are comforting or relaxing. While still picturing your resource, track the sensations that are pleasant or neutral, which are connected to this resource. Focus your attention on the places in your body where you feel either neutral or pleasant sensations. And as you focus on those comfortable sensations, just notice what happens next within your body. Gently bringing your attention to sensations that are pleasant. And notice the places in your body where you have less tension. And just continue to notice what happens next. This is just about noticing. There are no expectations, no rights, no wrongs. You're just paying attention to your body. And if you notice any unpleasant sensations, that's okay. Just shift your attention to places that are neutral or more comfortable. Lovely. And allow yourself to stay here for just a few more moments before slowly opening your eyes when you're ready. Okay, and now with your eyes open, maybe take a nice deep breath and return gently to the room as we continue with the workshop. And you can do that short exercise for any or all of your resources, internal or external. Try it out with as many of them as you like and see what positive or neutral sensations they hold for you. Obviously, the more resources you have at your disposal, the better this is for you. And this skill is something really simple that you can do as many times as you need throughout the week. It only takes a couple of minutes to do, and you can shift your nervous system into a different state very quickly, so this skill can be incredibly effective. As you begin tracking sensations connected to your resources, you will also start becoming more aware of when you are in your resilience zone. So, as always, after completing a skill, resourcing in this instance, I invite you to notice how you feel after doing that short exercise. Hopefully, you're feeling somewhere between numbers 4 to 7, but if not, that's okay. This is something that takes time and practice. There are 4 more skills for you to learn yet, and I don't expect every single skill to be effective for you. But even if you find just one skill from these workshops that helps you, then that's something positive to take away with you. So as you begin to track where you are on the scale throughout the day, you can then progress to checking in with yourself further by asking at the end of each day, how often was I in my resilience zone today? And you can begin to log or notice if that changes over the next few days or over the course of these workshops. Hopefully, you'll see some changes and in time, progress to being in your resilience zone most of or all of the time. Let's have a quick summary before we finish the workshop of how the skills tracking and resourcing can help you to increase the capacity of and be in your resilience zone more often. Learning how to tell the difference between sensations of distress and sensations of calm and comfort can help you intervene on the hijacking of your nervous system caused by traumatic or stressful experiences. Paying attention to sensations connected to being stuck on high or stuck on low, and most importantly, sensations of resiliency can enable your nervous system to come back into the resilient zone. Resourcing is one of the ways that you can intercept the hijacking of your nervous system and help you to stabilize it by shifting your awareness to sensations of resiliency.
This concludes our second workshop. I hope you found one or both of the skills useful. I use resourcing a lot with clients, and it's a fantastic way of reconnecting you with those positive or neutral sensations when you've been bumped out of the resilient zone. So I really hope that you can benefit from using this skill as well. Next week, we're going to be looking at our next two wellness skills, and that's going to be grounding and gesturing. So I'll see you in the next video.